as U1 and R. But when we've already got a nice formula that we know, why don't we just use that? But I just want you to appreciate that it is actually a geometric sequence. Let me explain why. So look at in the blue, it says we can calculate the value of compounding investment using the formula UN plus 1 equals U1 times R to the N. Now wait a minute. What is that formula from year 10 that we actually know? Does anyone remember it? It starts with an A. A equals, I'll give you a clue, there's something here, then brackets, then the N. Does anyone know what's outside or what's in the brackets? I like that you have P. P is there. There's something to do with R, the rate. 1 plus R in the brackets. Where, for this one, P is the principal. So it's the amount that was invested. The initial investment, I'll write that down, principal or initial investment. Notice, that's squished. Notice, instead of using P, they're using U1. Do you see that? We don't have to. We're going to stick to the one, we used to know. But, yeah, absolutely. I'll show you both ways. And then you do whatever makes sense to you, okay? The N. N is the number of compounding periods, and that's what they're using it for as well. So it's the same thing. Now, here's what's different though. We previously used R as the percentage, the rate as a percentage. So like, for instance, I invest $5,000 at 5% interest. The rate would be 5%. Does that make sense? But here they use it as they use their R as a growth multiplier, which their R over here is actually the whole 1 plus R. You know how, if I invest $50,000 into a company, it grows generally. It grows. Does that make sense? It gets bigger, that 50,000. And if I want to increase something by, say, 5%, what do we multiply it by? We talked about this last lesson. What do I multiply it by, Alyssa? 1.05. So you're adding 1. Does that make sense, girls? So that's why we add 1 to the 5%. That's why the formula is like that. They're doing that, but they're doing it within that little R. Okay? They're doing that too, and I'll show you in a minute. The A is the final amount of the investment or value. So it's after it's grown. Okay? They defined it. Their A is UN plus 1. It's the amount after n compounding periods. That's what they're calling it, but it's the same thing for us as well. Okay, so we're going to give it a go using both formulas. $700 is invested monthly into a bank account at 6% per annum compounded interest. Compounded monthly. Now, those words, compound interest, that tells us it's compound interest. And compounded monthly means sometimes it's not always yearly. So we increase it by, say, 5% every month. And that makes a difference. That changes our N. First, we're going to use the one I wrote, the compound interest formula that we've learned previously. So that one is, we're going to do this one like this. A equals P times 1 plus R to the N. Does anyone know what P is from the question? 700, that's right, that's P. Let's write that down. P is 700. We have to work out N and R. What bit of information in there is to do with N? Yeah, our N is going to be based on 3 years. But why do you think it isn't exactly 3? Why can't we just say, okay, 3, done, finished?
Compounded monthly, not yearly.
So good. So in that case, I actually need the number of months altogether. Does anyone know how I can get from 3 to the number of months? Yeah, I times that 3 by 12. There's a reason I'm trying to get that out of you instead of just going straight to 36. So is everything okay? Beautiful. What about R? I start with 0.06. But girls, what does that PA stand for? Per year or per annum? Have you heard of that? So wait a minute, I don't want per annum, I want per month. Now, to get an equivalent monthly rate, I don't want it to be bigger. I want it to be smaller than that yearly rate. That's why I wanted you to do this times by 12, because whatever you times n by, you divide r by. Okay, so like I think that step of 3 times 12 is very important because it helps us with the n. So then I need to divide, every time. Divide that by 12. Is everyone okay? And now on your calculator, can you tell me what that is? 0.06 divided by 12 as a decimal, please. Okay, so now we're ready to go. We have all the info, we have our formula, we're ready to find it out. It says, how much will the investment be worth at the end of 3 years? That's good, that is A. That actually is A. All I need to do now is plug everything into the formula. 700 times 0.005 to the power of 36. Beautiful. Now, girls, I prefer to do this. Just have a look. I added the 1 and the 0.05, and technically you don't even need brackets because now it's just one number. Okay, could someone please put all that in the calculator? 800?
137 and 6763.
Good, I'm glad you gave me all the decimals. So 6763? All right, girls, let's just say you get that on your calculator. Given the context of the question, what should your final answer be? If you're giving your answer as a form of money, we would always round it to 2 decimal places. So this is the only time where it's implied that you don't follow the 3 sig figs rule. Does that make sense? So that's why it's 837.68. So we're starting again, but this time we're using this rule. UN plus 1 equals U1 R to the N. So in this example, what is U1? Beautiful. Now, what is there R? No, actually, no, let me try that. What do we have to do to find their R, their version of R, which is what we had the whole thing in the brackets? Basically, R, or their R, is 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12. Does that make sense? She's not dividing the 1 by 12, otherwise would be... And that becomes 1.005. That we've done that. Oh, what is N? I forgot N. What do we do? 36 or 3 times 12. That at least is the same. And again, what we're multiplying by here, we divide the percentage there. UN plus 1. Oh, actually, we'll get back to that. But yep, keep going. Equals. Beautiful. And girls, in actual fact, I could have, instead of writing UN plus 1, what should I have written with a number? 36 plus 1, which is 37. So it's kind of like saying after 3 years or after 36 months, it almost becomes at the beginning of the 37th month. In a way, that could be why it's 37. And then we get the same answer as before, so it should be $837.68. How much money should be invested now? Let's just stop there. How much money should be invested now? If this is the formula we're using, let's just write it down. A equals P times 1 plus R to the N. What letter are they asking for in that little bit? How much money should be invested? P, yes, we're trying to find P. If I need $12,000 in 5 years' time, stop there. What is $12,000? A. So A is the $12,000. Now, in 5 years' time, I haven't read the rest yet, but what will that 5 at least help me find? N. So I'm just going to write n equals 5 for now, but then I'll read the rest and see what happens. Good. And interest is at 9% per annum. What's that going to help me find? R, so R is 0.09. Oh, compounded half yearly. How many half years in a year?
2.
Good. I'm glad you didn't say 6. A lot of people think, oh, it's 6 months. No, that doesn't matter. It's just how many half years are in a year? There's 2. Everyone okay? So I times this by 2 and? Beautiful. So let's work those out. N becomes 10 and R becomes 0.045. Mm-hmm. 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 Beautiful. How am I going to find P? What do I need to do? So I need to divide both sides by 1.045 to the 10. Is it okay that I'm not using brackets around the 1.045? And that cancels that out. So what do you get as a decimal? And round it appropriately, please.
7,727.13.
0.13? Okay.